My name is Avery Collins. I'm 28 years old. Last Saturday, 19 members of my family suddenly remembered my grandmother existed. They showed up dressed nicely, carrying flowers, cakes, fake smiles, rehearsed apologies. For 5 years, not one of them called her. Not on birthdays. Not on Christmas. Not after her surgery. 5 years of complete silence. But the moment she won a $2.3 million lawsuit, suddenly, everyone knew the way to her nursing home. What none of them knew was that my grandmother had been quietly keeping a record. A small blue notebook. Every single night, for 1,826 days. And inside it, just one question. Who showed up today? Let me take you back to the beginning, because this didn't start with money. It started with a house. A white, 2-story home on Leenan Road. The kind of place where memories cling to the walls. My grandmother, Dorothy, lived there for over 40 years. She raised 4 kids in that house. She buried her husband after lung cancer. She grew roses that still bloomed long after he was gone. And then one day, at 76, she fell in her kitchen. Fractured wrist. Shaking hands. A quiet realization. She couldn't live alone anymore. So she made a decision. She sold the house for $4,280,000 and moved into a care facility. She didn't ask anyone for help. She said, "I don't want to be a burden." That's when the family turned on her. They didn't see dignity. They saw lost inheritance. My aunt called it betrayal. My uncle called it stupidity. My own mother called her selfish. And just like that, they disappeared. Except me. I started visiting her twice a week. Every Tuesday after my night shift. And every Saturday morning at 10. 2 hazelnut coffees. Same routine. Every time. We'd sit together, talk about random things. Old students she remembered, weird hospital stories from my job. Sometimes we'd just sit quietly. But I noticed things. The way she looked at the empty chair. The way she checked for mail that never came. The way she smiled, even when no one else showed up. 6 months later, it was just me. One night, my mom called me. Not to ask about Grandma, but to accuse me. She said, "People think you're visiting her for money." I laughed at first. Then I realized she was serious. When I told her there was no money left, she said, "Then why do you keep going?" That question stuck with me. Because to them, love needed a reason. To me, it didn't. A year later, things got worse. Grandma wasn't being cared for properly. Dehydrated. Bruises that didn't make sense. Broken call button no one fixed. I knew something was wrong. And then she fell again. This time, it broke her hip. That was it for me. I got her out of that place within days. Moved her to a better facility. Paid the deposit myself. My family didn't even ask if she was okay. So I did what they wouldn't. I fought. I filed a lawsuit. And for 3 years, I stayed by her side while the case dragged on. During those 3 years, she didn't receive a single call from her children. Not one. But every night, she wrote in that notebook, "Avery visited. No one else." Over and over and over again. Then one day, everything changed. The lawsuit settled. $2.3 million. Not because of luck. Because someone finally held that facility accountable. 2 weeks later, the entire family showed up. All 19 of them. Like it was a reunion. They filled the room with noise and fake warmth. "Oh, Mom, we missed you. We should have come sooner. We were just so busy." And then, they started talking about the money. That's when my grandmother did something I'll never forget. She picked up that notebook, put on her glasses, and said, "Before we talk about the future, I want to read something." The room went quiet. She opened the first page and started reading. March 8, 2021. Avery visited. No one else. March 9th, no visitors. Easter Sunday, no calls. My birthday. Avery came. No one else. At first, people shifted uncomfortably. Then, they stopped breathing. Because they realized, this wasn't emotion. This was evidence. 5 years. 1,826 days. One name. Mine. No accusations. No yelling. Just facts. And somehow, That was worse. My aunt tried to interrupt. My grandmother raised her hand, the same way she used to silence a classroom, and kept reading. When she finished, she closed the notebook, looked at all of them, and said, "You're here now. I know why." No one spoke. Not one of them. Then she said something that changed everything. "I updated my will 6 months ago." You could feel the tension snap. "I didn't base it on feelings." She tapped the notebook. "I based it on this." And then, the line that still gives me chills. "You don't leave your life to people who didn't show up for it." That room broke apart. People crying. People silent. People angry. But none of them could argue. Because the truth was sitting right there, in ink. Later, she handed me the notebook. And said softly, "I don't need it anymore." But I kept it. Not as a weapon. Not as proof. But as a reminder. Because at the end of everything, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about revenge. It was about something simpler. Showing up. Now I bring a new notebook when I visit her. And I write too. Tuesday, visited Grandma. We solved the crossword together. Because one day, those small moments will be everything. If you're the one who shows up, the one who calls, the one who visits, the one who doesn't need a reason, you matter more than you think. Because in the end, life doesn't remember what you said. It remembers whether you were there.